President Trump threatening Apple with a tariff of at least 25% on iPhones if they're not made in the USA. He said in a Truth Social post, "I've long ago informed Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, that I expect iPhones sold in the USA will be made and built in this country, not India or any place else." We're joined by Tom Forte, Managing Director and Senior Consumer Internet Analyst with the Maxim Group. Tom, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Sure, Andrew, anytime.
You do think this is negotiation, that Apple will offer further spending maybe in America, and that this could be just an initial position that President Trump is setting out?
Yes. So if you look at historically how President Trump goes about negotiating, in this case, a trade deal, but a trade deal more involving Apple than, say, the country of China per se, he often has big asks. So I think what he's ultimately looking for is Apple to increase its commitment beyond the $500 billion in investing in the U.S., potentially having more components of the iPhone made in the U.S. But I'm not convinced today that he ultimately thinks that Apple will, in fact, make iPhones in the U.S.
Apple might sweeten the pot for the president by upping that planned or announced investment?
Absolutely. So when you think about what the Trump administration is offering Apple, some of this is all corporations with a lower corporate tax rate. And then specific to Apple, they did get relief on tariffs as it pertains to computers and to smartphones. Mm-hmm. And then when you think about what Apple's offering the U.S., it's the $500 billion commitment for spending, including across multiple states within the U.S., including having more products that go into the iPhone sourced in the U.S.
Some observers are saying that that would take years, though. And I mean, you don't just build these plants overnight. And it seems interesting as well. Can you even source many products competitively in the USA?
So I think that if you looked at Tesla as a proxy, so Tesla has what you would call regional manufacturing. It has some of its cars made in the US, some made in Europe, some made in China. And when you think about Apple, we talk a lot about times about how things are manufactured in China. In many instances, they're essentially just assembled in China, manufactured in other parts of the world, and then put together in China. Mm-hmm. So I do think that an iPhone could be made in the US without a heavy level of automation like Tesla does with its cars. It would be materially more expensive than it is today. So yes, so I think it is conceivable that iPhone could be made in the US, but without heavy automation, it would be much more expensive than it is today.
If it's just an assembly operation, could Apple source a lot of the components abroad? And would it placate Trump if they were to build the assembly factories in the USA? I mean, that's not a simple undertaking, I know.
If you use the auto manufacturing sector as a guide, the answer is yes and no. So I think what we're seeing is that cars that are assembled in the U.S. with parts outside the U.S. are still subject to tariffs. But I think you've seen some short-term pauses on the expectation that it takes time for the parts to be made in the U.S., as of course it would take time for more of the components for Apple's products to be made in the U.S. And then so it's hard to say. Mm-hmm. And again, if you use the auto sector as a guide, assembly in the U.S. doesn't necessarily just prevent you from tariffs if the parts are all outside the U.S.
It is interesting, though, in this era of global supply chains, what does it mean when you say you make a product in one country when a lot of the value is added in other countries? It seems kind of simplistic, all right. And just remind us, because President Trump did put in this, I think it was a temporary exemption on imports of smartphones and computers and electronics.
Yes. So you think about the challenge for the consumer electronics industry, but Apple was somewhat exempt from it or less negatively impacted by the China tariffs because there were at least short-term exemptions as it pertained to computers and to smartphones. This is consistent with my view that what President Trump is trying to do longer term is to have chips made in the U.S., to have the pharma supply chain more U.S. than it is today, and that toys, apparel, other categories, I think he's less concerned about those items being made in the U.S. And there's an element of national security. So I don't know if it extends beyond the chips to the full iPhone, but I think that's part of what's going on here.
That's interesting. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, just because I think part of your thesis is that chips are really at the center of this policy thrust by President Trump, because, I mean, the chip manufacturing has moved out of the United States.
Yeah, but I think it's absolutely from a security standpoint. So we don't want China to be responsible for the chips that are empowering artificial intelligence for security reasons, not just for, love to have more jobs in the US. So I think the end game, or the primary focus is, I believe, on chips, pharma, and then trying to make China less powerful than it is today as a global player.
It is interesting. I mean, this is going to take decades, though, if these changes are going to be made.
That's a great point, Andrew. And I think that is one of the interesting things about the policy. And when you think about the US election cycle being a 4-year cycle, or 8-year terms for presidents who are elected for 2 terms, these are things that, if they do come to play, will take much longer than 4 years for that manufacturing capacity to come to the US.
Tom, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Anytime. Thanks, Andrew.
Tom Forte, Managing Director and Senior Consumer Internet Analyst at Maxim Group. Coming up.